The men's basketball team took on two tough opponents in Wisconsin and Purdue. Could the Hoosiers shake up the Big Ten standings?
The IU women's basketball team tried to take down Big Ten leader Ohio State. We've got all the action.
And coming up later, the Hoosiers had a tough battle on the mats with the #1 ranked Iowa Hawkeyes. Find out if IU could defeat Goliath. All this and more coming up on this edition of Hoosier Sports Night.
Welcome into Hoosier Sports Night with Casey Richards. I'm Lucas Mayer.
It was a big weekend for women's swimming and diving and football, but first, as always, we'll get started with some Indiana basketball. The men's basketball team looked to win back-to-back home games for the first time since mid-November. Wisconsin was looking to avoid a trip-up and trying to pad their NCAA tournament resume. Both teams played tough, but a key rally would prove to be the difference. And there's Bo Ryan getting his team ready to take on Indiana, who is getting Devin Dumas back for this game. But early on, it was all Verdell Jones as he hits this baseline jumper to put IU up 11-10. Later on in the half, Jones gets it up to Dumas, who knocks down this three-pointer. He struggled in his return, though. He only scored 12 points on 1 of 6 shooting. But that would be okay, as Verdell Jones would provide the Hoosiers with all the offense they needed. Gets it off the glass there. And now Jones again gets into the lane and puts up this runner. He had 10 first half points, and the Hoosiers were only trailing by 1, 31-30 at the half. But that would be when the Badgers took over. Marcus Landry here gets the bucket and the foul. He had 9 points. Now the Badgers get it down low to Joe Krabenhoft, who puts it up the glass. It's now 45-34 Wisconsin. Krabenhoft with the cross-court pass to Tim Jarmus, who hits the three. This would cap an 18-2 run for the Badgers, and they are now up by 15. Now Trayvon Hughes gets into the lane and puts up the layup. He led all scorers with 21. The Badgers still up by 15. Now, closing minutes of the half, Krabenhoft gets into the lane and goes up with a turnaround jump shot. Badgers up by 24. Krabenhoft had 18. Wisconsin goes out to win 68-51, and Tom Crean not looking too happy after this one.
All season long, it has been a tale of two very different halves for the Hoosiers. Indiana trailed by just 1 point at halftime on Thursday, but was blown out in the second half, dropping 68-51 to Wisconsin at Assembly Hall.
I don't think we competed it very well in the second half, and our defense certainly let us down. There was really nothing early to mid-second half that we could hang our hat on, and much different than the first half, and they exposed that.
We got too relaxed. We came out with a lot of great energy in the first half, and felt good going to the locker room, and we didn't bring that intensity to the second half.
We didn't come out prepared in the second half. Just the way Coach wants us to compete. I don't think we competed very well. They hit shots, and then we didn't hit shots on our end, so it was just an uphill battle from there.
And it was an uphill battle that was just too much for IU to overcome, as the Hoosiers shot just 27% from the field in the second half. Wisconsin junior Trayvon Hughes led all scorers with 21 points as the Badgers stormed out of halftime on an 18-3 run, burying the Hoosiers.
Well, I'd like to say it was something at halftime and, try to make it look like it was something that it wasn't. Just finish inside. We had some shots in the first half inside, and we just didn't finish. So we reiterated what we were trying to accomplish and had better results in the second half.
We have to play, I don't want to say a perfect game, but we've got to play close to a perfect game in the sense of, not making mental errors. We have to be physical, those types of things. And we've got to execute better, and we have to do that more often than the opponent does right now. And when we don't, things like tonight can happen.
Devin Dumas returned to the Indiana lineup for 12 points on just 1 of 6 shooting, while freshman big man Tom Pritchard was limited to just 4 points.
They played like a veteran club, and we played like a bunch of rookies, and that's the bottom line.
Now the loss drops the Hoosiers to just 1-12 in conference play, but the bad news doesn't stop there. In the game's closing minutes, freshman guard Matt Roth was injured and had to be helped off the court. No word at this point about the severity of the injury.
Wisconsin Badger Trayvon Hughes hit up the Hoosiers for 21 points to lead all scorers. He also led the team with 4 assists. Joe Kravenhoft had 4 more points than letters in his name, giving him an impressive 18 on the game. The Hoosiers were led by Verdell Jones as the third, 16 points. Jones also contributed 3 rebounds and 3 assists. Malik Story and Devin Dumas were the only other Hoosiers in double digits with 11 and 12 respectively. Indiana was outscored 37-21 in the second half. As Wisconsin head coach Bo Ryan works the sidelines, he rarely takes the time to sit down in one of these. After all, he's considered by many to be one of the most intense coaches in America. However, following his team's 68-51 victory over the Indiana Hoosiers, he was in a little bit of a lighter mood and shared his thoughts on a wide array of topics.
I'm lobbying guys to get the rule that if a guy hits a guy and the guy gets fouled shooting the ball and he makes a good pass, you should get an assist for that. You didn't read my new theory? Ignorance of ignorance is bliss. I never listen to anything else. People will chatter and say, look, we did it in high school with our classmates. We said, hey, that guy over there, he's, man. And instead of putting it on a blog, what we did was we would say it. I just thought that worked better than ripping the whiteboard down or throwing a chair or anything like that. I just thought for this particular time, being civil was extremely important. I told him before the game, first of all, I asked him if he was mic'd. Because, I might have used language that maybe, and he said no.
After all, I guess when your team has won 5 games in a row and is now back in the NCAA tournament picture, why not be in a better mood? Reporting from Assembly Hall, I'm Casey Richards, Hoosier Sports Night.
The men's team has all but secured the worst season in program history, as well as the bottom spot in the conference rankings. Understandably, head coach Tom Crean has been a little more than irritated with his inaugural season as head coach. Ronan O'Shea has more.
Despite what has been a long and difficult season for first-year head coach Tom Crean right here at the Indiana bench, most post-game press conferences here at Assembly Hall last about 20 minutes. But following Thursday night's 68-51 loss to Wisconsin, Crean spoke with the media for just 3 minutes and 22 seconds and had plenty of short, concise answers like this.
I'm not going to be here long, so let's go. They played better than us. I mean, bottom line. I don't know. You'd have to ask them. I don't know that. That's not relevant to me. No, I don't have one. He's with the doctors right now. He did a good job. Thanks.
The men's basketball team could redeem themselves somewhat with a win at rival Purdue. Would IU save face or sink further down the drain? And the Big Ten leading Ohio State Buckeyes came into town on Sunday. Coming up next, you'll see if the IU women's basketball team could pull out a win. All this and more coming up after the break.